The Hamilton Ticats win 37-29 over the BC Lions on Saturday night. I'm here with the Spec Steve Milton. And Steve, I liked the defensive game plan that the Ticats rolled out against the Lions.
Oh, absolutely. I thought that won the game for them, but particularly early. Although Burris' offense was hot, but it's very clear to me, Drew, that they trust, and I think that's probably the wrong word, the secondary now, because they're coming much more often now at the quarterback. It was way more than BC could handle, as you pointed out to me during the game. That's exactly what Montreal did to them too. I think they came at them pretty hard. That defense is really starting to come around. And think of this. Again, something you pointed out to me. The final minute and a half of the game, they had 3 Canadians on that defensive line. At a very key point, it was an 8-point game.
On offense, Henry Burris throws for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. The 2 picks were costly, particularly the one late. But he's certainly spreading the ball around, and I think Ken Dawson seemed to be focusing on the positives rather than negatives in Burris' play.
Well, I think that's probably true. Those 2 picks, though, had to be of concern, not particularly within this game, although they could have been. Even the first one, they were marching to score there, and I think they would have run away with it at that point. Although you can, as he pointed out later, you can never run away in this league, especially against a team like BC. Henry is really distributing the ball extremely well. There was a game a couple of weeks ago where his top 3 receivers were within 2 yards of each other in receptions, 68-70 or something like that. Ellingson is developing into, if there's another candidate for Rookie of the Year now that's even close to him, I'd be very surprised.
One guy I think that might give him a run for his money is C.J.
Gable. Exactly.
He's another guy we should talk about because Gable had more than 150 yards total offense for the Ticats. I think played very well. They didn't use a lot of the running game, but ran a lot of short passes that were essentially the running game.
As Austin calls them, and most people in football call them, sort of long handoffs, a little pitch. And BC was doing a lot of that too. They were Harris only had a couple of carries in the first half, but he had a bunch of those little pitches out to the outside. We have to remember that at one point, now it's a few years ago, but it's only about 5 years ago now, this guy was the best tailback for his age in America, which would make him in the continent. 18 years old, starting tailback at USC, only the second true freshman to ever start at USC. So this guy has some stuff. Another guy that fell through the cracks, didn't get some breaks along the way. He's still got some rookie things going on. I thought his fumble was inexcusable. At that point, you're not fighting for extra yards. At that point, you got a 3-touchdown lead, and really it put them. And I'm really, really glad for his sake, because I think he can be a bit sensitive that didn't turn to be the turning point of the game, his fumble, that they were able to stem the tide of the Lions' tide. But for a minute there, it looked like it was going to be, and which would have made it the key play of the year negatively for the Ticats.
The Ticats are now 5-5. And I mean, Austin talked about this at the end of his press conference as well. He feels that they are improving. Do you think so as well?
Oh, I think there's no doubt about it. And I'm going to go back to what you said from the start, the defense. That's been the struggle here. This is the earliest, wouldn't you say, certainly in your tenure, and maybe it's you, in your tenure, that the defense has started to look promising. I mean, it's been looking promising now for about 3 or 4 games, but I'd say they're not there. They're not there at all. But they're way ahead of any defense on this team in the last 5, 6, 8, 10 years at this stage. What are we at? Game 9 now? Game 10. Game 10, way ahead. And they've been rebuilding, and you really like where they're going. And as I say, I really like the way the secondary's covering. It allows to get good pressure, and of course the vice versa. The pressure makes good coverage.
Yeah, and I think the big change, I think, from this year as opposed to past years is the fact that I think they are changing week to week. And so, after what happened to them last week in BC, you saw Orlando Steiner, defensive coordinator, come out with a different game plan this week and able to execute that. That seems to me to be the biggest change, is that the coaching staff evolves and changes week over week in a way that's effective.
Right, and not so much on defense, but on offense, half to half. The adjustments here, remember the third quarter on this team for the last many, many years has been the most terrible quarter. Why? Because that's when the adjustments have been made, and they haven't been able to make those adjustments. I agree with you 100%. Not only game to game, but within the game as well.
Make sure you check out Monday's Spectator for a full report from this game, as well as Steve's column reporting from Alumni Stadium in Guelph. For the Hamilton Spectator, I'm Drew Edwards.